To get into the headmaster's office upstairs, we will need his PIN code. I don't have it in my files, but we can recover it. We'll need to answer some security questions first.
Having tripped over every pesky regulation in my adopted Japan, I decided to advance my study of genetics in America, and I couldn't have arrived at a more auspicious time in history. Within a year, they had put a man on the moon. One of the fundamental rights of man. Then a prison train, such as this was, provided an ingenious loophole for my scheming captors. They slapped a fresh coat of paint on its rotting sides, and even went so far as to give it a rugged and exciting-sounding name, the Siberian Express.
Place is quiet. NPR. Got my post secure.
Why, librarian, you look like you've seen a ghost.
I see many ghosts on these walls. Why would you take pictures with monsters, and worse, display them proudly?
I have sat for pictures with many important people, even people I find disagreeable.
I suspect you mean me. How could you stand beside this man here?
Not a fan of the Generalissimo, are we?
I crossed an ocean to escape Franco's brutality, only to find his brand of fascism had been imported to Argentina.
Well, I can't speak to that, but I will say I found our meeting quite pleasant. He was an excellent conversationalist, and his taste in wine, impeccable.
We're getting closer to the headmaster's office. I'll be taking this. I hope they can't see me here. Help! I'll check his pockets. I'll check his pockets. I found a cassette.
The overseer runs this library like a wild animal preserve. Look, but don't touch.
We owe a debt of gratitude to those giants whose shoulders we've stood upon. The earlier they lived, the larger their stature, and so the greater our debt. While the 20s roared in America, they screamed like a Siberian windstorm in Vladimir's hometown of Simbirsk. A controversial man of the people, he was surely. And the fact that he spent time in political exile makes him that much more admirable, in my estimation. His detractors would call him an opportunist, and they would be right. But Yataro Iwasaki was given nothing less than the modest opportunity to bring an entire nation into the modern age, and he succeeded. The nerve of him. Plato's keen eyes peered further into the future than any of his Grecian contemporaries. He was, and will remain, the most vocal supporter of the classic Republic, and its earliest. The father of Europe was besieged from all sides by pagan tyranny. And then in the year 800, he did a most remarkable thing. He held the hands of secularism and religion and married them together in what would later be called the Renaissance. A personal favorite. For those who would criticize him for his monopolistic tendencies in the early 20th century, I say, shout it from the rooftops, or, barring that, hop online and voice your disdain in a chat forum. He would appreciate the irony. Her death in 1952 was a tragedy, not just for the Argentine shirtless who idolized her, but for the anti-Peronists who celebrated her demise. Christ had a similarly divided populace to contend with, and like Eva, succumbed to sacrifice at the age of 33. It is difficult to write a story as it unfolds, but to wait until it's finished is to risk butchering the telling of it. I would rather strain the wrists of those taking my dictation than cause even a modicum of butchery.
Bring up the threat level.
If the battery on the girl's phone runs low, she need only find her way to a confinement room. Ideally, she'll visit them on her own free will, and not with a Prizrak escort.
We found some pepper spray.
Welcome to my domain. What are you buying? Come back anytime.
Good idea. My battery was getting low.